About 10 minutes ago, another brief.
Hold on, all. I'm working on getting that for you right now.
Who were monitoring the situation closely, the experts, told me that the erosion that caused all of this concern was not advancing as rapidly as they thought. That's a very good thing. Secondly, there is a plan currently.
Yeah, they're having some major issues.
That would include using helicopters to drop back into crevice and prevent any further. I'm told is about 2 inches of water. That is significantly down because one of the other important measures that was taken was to increase the flow of water out of the primary spillway to 100,000 cubic feet per second. That has helped reduce the level of the lake rather quickly. It is hopefully going to reduce primary spillway to 100,000 cubic feet per second. That has helped reduce the level of the lake rather quickly. It is hopefully going to reduce the pressure on that alternative/emergency spillway and stabilize the situation so that we can find a repair for it and hopefully prevent it from a complete failure. I'm going to turn it over to my counterparts in CAL FIRE, and I will add that from this point forward, we are in a unified command in terms of managing this operation. Chief?
Thanks, Sheriff. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Lawson, I'm an incident commander with CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3. Give you a brief little rundown. Sheriff is absolutely correct. We are in unified command. CAL FIRE is currently mobilized and activated on.
Again, for those that
Another incident management team to be mobilized to the Chico Fairgrounds.
Those at the press conference right now. That's coming from their end.
And making sure that those are mobilized as well and staged and ready to be put to work as well. We have additional CAL FIRE command teams that are being mobilized and stood up and stand fast and ready to be activated to assist in whatever way possible. We have both the CAL FIRE director and deputy director at the Sacramento Operations Center assisting in coordinating efforts from a regional perspective as well. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to the Department of Water Resources, Eric C., to give an update.
Thank you, Chief. Sheriff Honey actually provided a very good summary of the points that I was going to make about the current condition of the structures in question, the auxiliary spillway and the primary spillway. I did want to make one addition to that. We have monitors on the primary spillway. This is the gated spillway, the concrete line spillway, and they have not detected upstream migration of the head cut on that spillway. So that's another thing that we're monitoring. And with the increased flows up to 100,000 cubic feet per second, they have not detected a change in that head cut as of about 15, 20 minutes ago. That was all I had to add.
I'm currently working on getting a better stream from that press conference.
I want to
view
now
to you
that
guys.
you have been briefed on what the situation is and what the rationale or reason for taking this rather extraordinary measure was, I want to tell you just a little bit about what our ongoing efforts are. So, as I told you, we declared an evacuation of the Oroville area. We sent out media releases, we sent out a mass notification, and we have deputies and other law enforcement personnel focusing on those areas of our community, first in close proximity to the river, because those would be the areas that would be affected soonest. So they are going into those areas and trying to make sure that All of those residents have been notified and
Our
are
counterparts
able
from
to
Development
back
Fire
up.
Patrol
We
are working
recognize
to
that this
deal with that.
has caused a significant problem with traffic.
Here for me was that I didn't have the luxury of waiting to see if all was okay. We needed to get people moving quickly in order to protect the public and save lives if the worst case scenario did come to fruition.
We needed to get people moving.
I would just reiterate, public safety is our number one concern in making sure that we have a well initiated, coordinated effort between the sheriff and ourselves that is being implemented.
There you go.
The other thing is we've been able to mobilize additional swift water teams that are readily available to assist where we can. And one other key component that I did leave out is we have additional CAL FIRE helicopters that are readily available both in the north and south that can be mobilized and are ready to be mobilized should we be mission tasked for additional assistance with that.
I'll just add one other thing in terms of what is the commitment support that we have gotten has been overwhelming. As you might imagine, in a scenario like this, there is a lot that has to be done very, very quickly. We've been working to do that. As we get those tasks taken care of, we can move on to other issues. But I have received, I've been in contact with the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. They are sending resources and committing to sending additional resources as this situation develops if we need it. I have been contacted by our local legislators in California, Senator Gallagher's office, and have all reached out.
And they're starting to lag on their Periscope as well.
Kind of resources. We have, of course, support. Support and all other safety.
All right, everyone. They are having major issues right now, trying to get this press conference out to the people
Significantly in a very timely fashion and relieve the pressure on the spillway. I'm hopeful that the amount of water that is being released downstream will not cause significant damage. But even if that happens, this is a very dynamic situation. It's a situation that could change rapidly, and one that we're going to have to pay a very close pay close attention to. People may ask, when can we come back if the situation doesn't result in catastrophic failure? And the answer to that question is, I don't know yet, because we're going to need to assess the stability of the spillway before we allow people back in. Once we've got them out, I want to make sure it's safe to come in. And so I would ask for the public's cooperation and patience. This is certainly not something that I wanted to do, but it was something that I felt was necessary to protect the lives of thousands of people.
Quick question for Eric. How long do you think?
Again, everybody, apologies. This is the end of the live stream coming out of...
Okay, you're listening to a live feed, two live feeds actually from DWR and the officials there down in Oroville in Butte County. Just to recap, this is not what they wanted to do. It's considered to be a dynamic situation, as you may not, if you've just joined us. The Oroville spillway, emergency spillway, is overloaded. They have both the spillway and the main spillway releasing more than 100,000 cubic feet per second, so an emergency evacuation has been called. Let's go back to the press conference as it continues.
Per second design.
Again, everyone, apologies for the video that's coming out of this press conference, that is coming out of the end of the press conference, and
Well,
that
they
quality.
brought it up to, as Sheriff Honey described, they brought the flows up to 100,000 cubic feet per second.
Yo!
Lake
The
Oroville
press
very
conference,
quickly,
hold it.
below
Hold
the,
it. What you gotta say?
top of the auxiliary spillway, and they're continuing to, they will continue to drop the lake level down as quickly as they can.
monitoring, this, as I understand this is the emergency spillway.
Can you get any audio through to me?
Yes,
No.
that's got the form.
Very, very horrible audio and video coming out of this press conference. For those that are watching right now, that is at the end of those inside of the
We
press
had
conference.
a monitor, that, we have monitors on the main spillway, also on the auxiliary emergency spillway. And they identified this erosion feature in, I think it was about 3 o'clock this afternoon. And immediately started assessing it, seeing if it was moving and observing it. And there's they don't have any models for something like this. It happened so quickly. And so it was, our engineers made their best estimate, and that was when they gave the information to Sheriff Honey.
Currently, do you have an estimate as the time as to when the lake will drop so the emergency spillway will not be activated?
I believe they said within the next hour.
That's fine.
That was the latest we had. That was right before we got here, so they're assessing that right now. But that was their estimate.
Do you know what the inflow is now?
I don't off the top of my head. It was decreasing, though, I know throughout the day.
But we will get you that information shortly. That's something we can readily obtain.
As you make this attempt to try to fix this and deal with this problem, there is rainstorm predicted coming up this week. How do you balance that? How do you handle it? How do you plan with that clock's ticking?
Well, I think right now we're going to be, going after this problem right now, and we'll be, we're definitely aware of that. We have, hydrologists and our forecasters are looking at that too. But this is our primary focus right now.
Okay, if there's no further questions, there'll be another press conference right in this room at 9 p.m. tonight. If any of you have any questions afterwards, everybody will be available for interviews. Thank you for your time.
Okay, you were watching a live press conference down near the Oroville spillwell, the Oroville Dam, bringing us the very latest information. A couple of things that are important to know. If you live in Butte County 211 has informed us that they can handle your calls. They know the information. That is a great place to start. Call the 211 call center, and they can give you information as to where you, any questions that you might have if you are not sure if you're in the evacuation area. Low levels of Oroville, areas downstream have been ordered to evacuate. Law enforcement is going door to door, areas, homes and areas closest to the dam and spillway. We will bring you more as we continue our coverage of the Oroville Dam spillway failure.
All right, everybody, we'll be switching over right now over to, hold on 1 second. We'll be switching right over to KCRA. Which I'll be putting on your screen right now. There is no audio coming from their broadcast at this moment. Hold on, let me double check. There is audio coming from their broadcast.
To draw down by another 10 feet. So that means that water is going to come out of the regular spillway there on the right side of the screen probably all week long at least 50 and maybe as much as 100 as they continue to draw this thing down. Because yes, we do have more active weather on the way later on this week. How much rain we may see in the Feather River Basin remains to be seen, and how much inflow we might start to see again. But I think they just want to get between now and let's say Thursday to draw that level down as much as they can. But I can't see any scenario where they're going to stop letting water go down the regular spillway anytime soon.
And not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but this next rain system, I mean, is significant amounts, or are we just too far out to tell still?
Well, I'm going to let Dirk answer that, because Dirk's been looking at the models closer than I have been today.
Yeah, we're looking at a series of systems right now. The forecast has that we have the first one coming in on Thursday, and then expect to have the next little one coming on Friday. The first one, we could see between a half an inch to an inch of rain, and you translate that. That's for Sacramento. Now, you translate that into the foothills, and you're talking several inches of rainfall. And so from just the first system, we're going to get a significant amount of rain in the mountains and the hills that, of course, feed into the Oroville Reservoir. And then beyond that, we have another system, like I said, on Friday. Then we have another one coming in on Sunday and Monday. And so there's these storms that are lining up. And so we are looking at the possibility of having a very similar amount of water that we did with the 3 systems that came in this past week that we had that caused a lot of this.
So, well, Dirk, let me ask you. So, again, you've looked at stuff tonight more than I have earlier today. It looked like they might be a little bit colder than last time. So instead of, I mean, what do you think the snow levels will be? Because that's an important factor.
That is an important factor. And the first system coming through on Thursday, it looks like snow levels will be more than likely 6,000 to 7,000 feet. Okay. After that, they drop down closer to 5,000 to 6,000 feet. And so we do have some colder air with those second wave, third wave, fourth wave that's coming through. The first one, though, still looks a little warm, but so we won't have all the runoff and the snow melt that we had with this last system where it was so warm, but we are still expecting to have a lot of water with this. So even though we don't have the snow melt happening, we are going to still have a lot of water coming down the hill.
Right, but Gulston, you know, just to compare though, last week between I think Sunday and Friday, the Feather River Basin had anywhere between 12 to 18 inches of rain over the course of that week. So foot and a half of rain, plus we had snow melt. So that contributed to the huge inflows we saw for an extended period of time. So that's part of what got us into the problem here, that we saw the levels come up and then the spillway got broken. It's just been a domino effect. But if this next time the snow levels are lower, then that would reduce the amount of snow melt. So the inflows wouldn't be as high. But still, as I was saying, you know, it doesn't sound like there's going to be a scenario where we're going to stop seeing water come down the regular spillway, the broken spillway, anytime soon.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. We do have we want to go back to the news conference. We have a sound bite that we want you to hear.
When I was advised of this hole that had formed, the engineers and experts from the Department of Water Resources advised that the hole was eroding back towards the face of the alternate/emergency spillway at a rather significant rate. They estimated that it would reach the face of that within about an hour. And beyond that, there was significant concern that it would compromise the integrity of the spillway, resulting in a substantial release of water.
So that was a quick bite of that news conference that we just watched with DWR, also folks there from CAL FIRE, a lot of different emergency services obviously working together in this. They are assessing the situation by the hour. They have local and federal safety engineers on scene working on this problem. But again, what he was explaining there is why they called that emergency evacuation, because they just didn't know how serious that erosion was. If the spillway could in fact fail, we've got all sorts of problems.
But here's the updates for that 211 information. This will help keep 911 free except for emergency calls, and that is very important at this time. If you're not sure about locations, go to our website, krcrtv.com. We're trying to keep everything updated to the minute. We're getting quite a bit of information, and you can see the 211 updates there as we are hoping to get Corey Honey. Jeremy, he's checking some of the latest levels now. We did hear in the press conference they're continuing to basically push as much water, let as much water as they can. They cannot control the amount of water going over that auxiliary spillway. We know that. So 100,000 cubic feet a second. We don't need any more going in, but snow melt is certainly having an effect on that, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's right, Brent. I just checked some of the latest numbers from the California Data Exchange Center, where you can track the levels at Lake Oroville hourly. Finally, since we've increased those outflows to 100,000 CFS, this is twice as much as what's coming into the lake. So we're going to see levels already start to drop. In fact, we are now just over a half a foot above where that emergency spillway is at. That's at an elevation of 101. So we're just above that, and we need to drop below 901 to keep that water from spilling over. That's still the equivalent of 26,000 acre feet of water that is above capacity for Lake Oroville. So we're going to continue to probably see those outflows very high, and that's why flooding is our major concern that we're keeping an eye out for. In fact, the National Weather Service did issue that flash flood warning. This is the area highlighted in red through 4:15 Monday afternoon. It's going to take a lot of water to actually let those lake levels levels subside. Think of it like a salad bowl. When you're filling things up, it doesn't take that much water to initially fill it up, but as you get closer and closer to the top, you need a lot more. Well, it's going to be in the reverse as far as draining it. You have to get rid of a lot of water before you see a decent drop. Of course, the lower you go, the easier those results will become. And one of the reasons why that flash flood warning is definitely still in effect through 4:15 Monday afternoon. So here's Orville. Here's the Feather River. Let me go ahead and move out of the way. Here is the dam. This is where all the water is going to be flowing as we go through the next day or so. What's happening is water will find the lowest spot, and it will go wherever it wants to go. You can't really block it. So as you start going through the Feather River, most of that is going to fan out from there. We heard earlier that areas around the river are the most prone to flooding, and if you have to evacuate, definitely head to a higher elevation. If you can go above 900 feet, which is the elevation of the lake, you'll be in a good position. But while we're dry right now, we're only seeing runoff, all attention is going to switch back over to our next storm system that could make this a whole nother issue as we go later into the week. You can see with Precision Cast already by Thursday night, that's the first wave that works its way through. A very unsettled pattern will be persisting, just like what we finished up. So this is the break right now. The next wave works its way through for late Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even for the following weekend. It's still tough a little to tell just how much rain we could get out of the system, but it's something we're definitely going to be keeping an eye out for. Definitely the officials over with the Department of Water Resources are keeping an eye on that as well. We are still throughout the North State in a flood warning through 9:15 Monday. So not only is Butte County looking for the potential of flooding, but so is the rest of the area, maybe at a smaller degree. Another concern is going to be all that water that's coming out of Keswick and Shasta in combination of Orville will continue to head farther south along the Sacramento River. So areas even farther south could potentially be looking at flooding later in the week as well. So our threat tracker will remain in the medium category because of those high river levels. Again, we're still under that flood warning all the way through tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on that. We may have to elevate it going through Tuesday, but then our whole next system works its way in on Wednesday with a lot more rainfall finally making its way through. We're going to go ahead and toss things back over to Brent, who has the Butte County Sheriff on the line. Brent?
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Sheriff Honey, thanks for joining us. I know it is amazingly busy right now. That's what
they're pushing. Okay, pushing. Okay, very good. Okay, that's very okay. I got it.
Sheriff Honey, you are live with us right now.
Do we know what the?
Sheriff Honey, you're live with us right now on Channel 7. What do we want people to know at this moment?
Hello?
Sheriff Honey, yes, this is Brent Weber. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
We are live on Channel 7 right now. What is the most important thing for residents and viewers to know at this moment?
Okay, so as you are aware, earlier this evening we ordered the evacuation of Oroville and the cities south of that. We also notified Yuba and Sutter counties of the need to activate evacuations. The reason for that, between 3:30 and 4 this afternoon, the emergency public safety personnel assigned to the incident involving the Oroville Dam spillway situation were advised by the Department of Water Resources staff that they had detected a significant hole near the front of the auxiliary/emergency spillway. You'll recall that spillway was the one that was being used to reduce the lake level because of the damage with the regular spillway. The DWR folks were quite concerned about that because it was eroding the land back towards the face of the spillway at a rapid rate. When they were asked what would happen if it got to the face of the spillway, there was significant concern that it would compromise the spillway and perhaps result in a substantial release of water downstream. In talking with DWR, they couldn't tell us with certainty how long that might occur and what would result, but there was the potential for catastrophic failure, which would have put thousands of lives in danger. As a result of that information, talking with my other public safety partners, we made the decision that we were going to order the evacuation of the Oroville area and the areas south. We decided that we couldn't wait to see if the situation became more stable or resolved itself, because if we did, we wouldn't have had enough time to get people out. So it was a tough decision, but it was a decision that had to be made, and I decided to err on the side of caution and start the evacuation process. Since then, I just got another update, which the DWR folks indicated to me that the rate in which that cut was eroding back towards the face of the spillway was not as rapid as what they initially thought it would be. That's a good thing because it has slowed that. So in order to try to prevent a catastrophic failure, they began to release 100,000 cubic feet per second of water down the regular but damaged spillway in an effort to lower the lake level below the area, below what was needed for the emergency spillway, and thereby relieve pressure on that. I am told that that is working and that the lake is dropping, and the last bit of information I had was that there was only about 2 inches of water going over the auxiliary/emergency spillway. That will help stabilize the situation, but I'm not confident that it will remove the threat or the danger. So we are going to continue with this evacuation order until I can be assured that the integrity of the spillway is intact, and that we aren't putting thousands of lives at risk.
Sheriff,
there is another effort being made to shore up the integrity of that eroded area, and that would involve the use of helicopters to drop bags of rock into the crevice to prevent any further erosion. At this point, that's all the information I have. We have another briefing at 9 p.m., and I'm trying to get some additional information from there. Okay?
Sheriff, I know you need to get out, but I just want to clarify one thing that I think might help people understand better. When they're talking about catastrophic failure, we are talking about the spillway. They're not talking about failure of the dam itself, correct?
Not. Thank you very much. And I think it's very, very important that you said that. I'm not talking about failure of the dam. We're talking about the failure of the spillway, what's been termed the auxiliary or emergency spillway. Now, the amount of water that would have washed downstream could have been significant, resulting in flooding all the way downstream. I was told by the Department of Water Resources that they did not have models for that. That wasn't something that was contemplated, which added to my decision to call for this evacuation. The bottom line is I made the decision to be safe rather than sorry, because if we would have waited and we would have been wrong, it could have jeopardized thousands of lives.
Sheriff
okay,
Honey,
guys, I got to go.
We know you got to go.
Right,
Sheriff Honey, we really appreciate your time. We will keep bringing all the information. That is Sheriff Honey from Butte County, essentially telling us this is a proactive, a measure he wanted to act before it became a critical scenario for residents, but that doesn't mean wait it out. They are going door to door. They are sending authorities out at the closest to the dam. You are being told to evacuate South Oroville and then downstream. So if in doubt, get in the car, take your time, go the way out of town. And you can see video right now from the Silver Dollar Fairgrounds where they are doing their best. There are several areas, some evacuation centers for people of Oroville that have just come into our newsroom. Paradise Veterans Hall now open. That's at 6550 Skyway in Paradise. Tehama County District Fairgrounds also open at 650 Antelope Boulevard in Red Bluff. So you can go straight to one of these places, and we'll have that up on a graphic for you in a moment. There's also Paradise Alliance Church, 6491 Clark Road in Paradise, open to RVs and trailers only, and Rolling Hills RV Park at 2645 Everett Freeman Way. That's in Corning. So we're going to give you a moment to look at those on the screen. And if you need to jot any of those down, Mike Dudley at Rolling Hills RV Park says they have about 20 spots available. Southbound lanes on 149, 70, and 99 are becoming northbound. There will be no highways to drive into Oroville. So if you have a family member that you need to check on, your best option is to call 211 if you know of somebody that needs assistance in getting out. Otherwise, there will be no roads going into Oroville. This is very important. They are able to take your calls from landline or cell phone into 211. It is best not to call 911 unless you have an emergency scenario. So leave 911 open for that situation. Let us recap for you that immediate evacuation from low levels of Oroville and areas downstream was ordered after 4 today, and the hazardous situation developed. I used the words that the auxiliary spillway had failed, and a better choice of terminology would be that it is overwhelmed. It is working, but there has been extensive erosion, as you have seen in our live shots throughout the day, and we'll take a look at some video right now of the river there. You can see cars leaving, but it does show an orderly evacuation. This being the most critical aspect. National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning, of course, for the area. And we want to bring you back to the timeline of this scenario. We also were told over an hour ago that officials anticipated a failure of that auxiliary spillway. I use that word